Is it called a
cool.
dojo?
It's not even called a dojo. It's just called a
Gym?
school.
Oh,
Yeah,
school.
a gym or school. Yeah. But no, that would be kind of cool though. I think that'd be sick if like did like a Waza versus Wernick or Aries versus Wernick or something local. But there are a lot of local tournaments and of itself.
End up
Like
meeting up against each
you'll
other
end up,
anyway.
yeah, you'll end up
Yeah.
rolling with other people in Sacramento.
What about Cobra Kai? Like, do you guys mess with them or
Cobra Kai. Nah,
Mhm.
no one really fucks with Cobra Kai.
no?
They're dirty. They
Mhm.
they don't play by the rules.
Mm.
I went to a Cobra Kai school and I got wrecked. So no one messes with
They got
Cobra
a
Kai.
sick logo for their dojo.
It's a snake and something else, right?
Mhm. It's
Yeah.
Cobra.
It's a cobra. It's a cobra.
It's
wow.
a Cobra.
That's what's called a brain fart.
Did you get that thing fixed and everything?
We're good, yeah.
Oh,
It's so annoying that happened, but at least it happened before we started the podcast.
The
It's
internet-
so funny.
the internet broke again?
It's just Chrome
Hmm.
broke.
Mm. We
Which
should
is even-
start our clock, our new and improved.
Oh, but
Oh,
check this
yeah.
out. I could actually adjust it to be on.
Where's our new clock in the cloud?
Oh wait, no, maybe I can't. Okay,
That's
well,
right there. But that's a little thing that smaller is better, man. Smaller is always
Yeah, ladies.
better.
it's how you use it.
Yeah, it's it is how you use it.
Something like that, right?
I don't know. That's what I keep telling Stephanie.
If y'all don't know what we're talking about, we got a new little clock that's actually working, and it's like a like a tenth of the size of the other clock. And it works like a charm. It does its job, and it's simple and easy to use.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks for all the Patreon. Thanks for dumping money into our Patreon. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now we can get a fancy clock.
Yeah.
God damn. You know what? It smells like absolute shit around my house. Like, it smells so fucking bad. And my friend came over yesterday or last night. Yeah, he came over last night, and he's been a friend of mine for a long time, and he was just blown away by the house, and he loved it and everything. And I go, dude, I was like, I know that you grew up in the country. You grew up on a farm. I'm like, is it always going to fucking stink this bad out here? He's like, that's country living, man. He's like, you got to live. He's like, you got to enjoy it. And then he's like, no, it doesn't always smell like this bad. But he's like, it will smell that bad for a while. I guess it's like fertilizer or something one of the local
okay.
farms is using. And so the only reason why you smell it so I only smell it at night. It's not like that well, it still stinks in the morning, but not nearly as bad. But I guess it's because of like the atmosphere and the like pressure, the temperature change and so on, makes it a lot worse at night. But can't open up the windows, nothing. It's like it's really, really bad. It's like almost like you're gonna barf.
Did you guys think about that when you were getting it?
No,
or
we had
not?
no idea. We didn't know anything about that.
That's why you guys got such a good deal.
Yeah, yeah.
It smells like shit every night.
Oh my god, it stinks. It's bad.
Oh,
It
my
doesn't.
goodness.
It smells. It smells really foul. Like, it doesn't just smell like poop. Like, if it was just fertilizer and just smelled, a little bit like some poop, I don't think I would be that like blown away by it. But it's bad.
You've
It
been to
smells like
Bakersfield?
something's dying or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the
That
worst.
just reminds me of Bakersfield. I've been
Yeah.
to Bakersfield a few times, and every time you drive through
Smells
Bakersfield,
like shit.
it's disgusting.
Does it smell like shit because of Harris Ranch? Is that where is Harris Ranch
Yeah,
that way?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's Harris Ranch? Just
Just-
explain to me.
It has like a million cattle or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
like
just
that.
think like Harris Ranch, like beef.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen it in stores or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
But we wouldn't know because we only know about the best. We
I was
only know
gonna
about
say-
Piedmontese.
Yeah. I know it pales in comparison for sure, but they do have a gigantic farm like as you're driving to SoCal,
Mm.
and it's just like shit, here it comes. It's near Coalinga. Is that the right one?
I'm such a kid.
I know, me
God.
too. But I think that's probably why they named
Kalinga.
Coalingus.
God, it's fun.
You were thinking of colon?
No.
Okay. I was like, what? We went different ways with that one. But anyway.
Man, yeah, it's fucking stinks. Anyway, my friend came over and he was all hyped up about my son's truck. He started looking at it and he, pops open the hood and he's talking about the engine like he knows a ton about cars. I don't know shit. I don't know what anybody's talking about. Him and Jake are going back and forth and my dad's talking about it and everyone's all excited. And my friend, he's like, man, he's like, I can't believe it. He's like, I had the same. He goes, I almost had the same exact truck in high school. He's like, damn it. He's like, I can't believe it. He's like, you have any idea how many chicks I banged in the back of this truck? Jake was like, huh? Jake was like, what?
Oh God. Well, yeah. Was that it? That's
My
all he
dad,
said.
my dad hit me on the arm. My dad was like, oh, that was good.
Oh, okay.
Like my dad didn't care, but like, yeah,
Okay.
Jake was
Oh,
like,
man.
huh?
That's
Yeah.
funny.
But yeah, they all worked on the truck a little bit together, and we fired it up. We went for a spin, and then the reason why I had my friend over last night is we're gonna try to figure out like what to do with our land. You know, we don't have any like people keep asking us like, you know, did you buy it for the land, or what are you gonna do with the land? And we're like, we don't know. It just came with the house. We really bought it for the house, not so much the land, but we'll figure out some stuff to do with it. My friend was saying, hey, we could build a track, and you can, you know, go out there and do your 10-minute walks, and you can, the kids, because I have a lot of kids in my family, they can race dirt bikes or four-wheelers or all that kind of shit out there. So that's the kind of stuff we're gonna put on there. And he was like asking about like cows and stuff, and we're like, nah, we don't want to be managing no cows, but we'll get some chickens and we'll get a garden, stuff like that.
That land is big enough for another super training gym.
Yeah. Well, that was supposed to be a secret. Yeah, I was gonna build a super training there, and it was just gonna be for me and you.
Oh.
That's it.
Hey.
Yeah.
I approve of that.
Well,
And Andrew.
I'll pay
Sorry,
for
Andrew.
half.
See you.
okay.
I'll
Yeah.
pay for half.
That's close.
Or actually, since it's 3 of us, we can go thirds. How much is it?
I don't know.
No.
I haven't mapped it out yet.
Just say yes to everything and then send the bill later.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Uh,
I'm excited though. We're gonna get some four-wheelers and shit. I had some of that stuff when I was a kid.
oh, cool.
My relatives had some stuff like that when I was a kid too. So, and my friends had shit like that when I was a kid. So, we ended up, jumping on some four-wheelers here and there and doing all that thing. It was fun.
That's sick. I've never done any of that stuff before. So
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think I rode a 3-wheeler like in junior high, and I just remember like, this is terrifying.
Oh yeah, those will flip over. They don't make those anymore. I don't think.
Mm-mm.
I don't think they even make them.
No,
one
yeah.
wheel in the front, 2 wheels in the back.
Right, yeah. And it
Ooh.
like you turn even just slightly, and that back wheel is like coming off the ground. It's
Wow.
did not like it. No.
Anyway, freaking Thanksgiving's coming up. Oh,
I love it when you do that, man.
that was great. I love that noise.
It's really
amazing.
great.
You know, it's just it's interesting. You know, like I sometimes just think of the weirdest stuff. I was just thinking the other day, like somebody made that noise, like somebody created that, right? And then somebody else heard it, and then it ended up in like every song.
Yeah.
But I just think it's interesting what people create, you know, and what people's minds think of.
Where it goes to or how it ends up somewhere.
Yeah, and so I was talking to Settlegate the other day about it, and I kept making that noise after everything he said the other day, and he was laughing, and so I was like, isn't it weird, you know, how Albert Einstein discovers the theory of relativity, and somebody else discovered wah wah wah. That's a weird thing to think about.
but it's an important thing to
But
to
more people,
contemplate.
more people probably heard the wah wah wah. They
Yeah.
can like
Oh, absolutely.
know what the hell
My
Albert
God.
Einstein's talking about, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and where the mind goes when you think it's so distinct that you just can't help but just remember every instance where you heard. "Bah, bah, bah."
I think
That's it. We're gonna put it in some of our advertising.
everybody knows it too.
Everybody
Like,
knows.
I mean, I would imagine my parents don't like understand like it's not a meme, but like they don't understand that part of it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they've like on Spanish TV they have to use it at least 5 times every commercial.
It's one of those sounds where your ears just perk up.
What is it too? Is it like horns or something? Like what is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude,
Some
how
type
do
of
we
horn.
find it? Isn't like a like
What-
what song is it from even? I mean, I know it's in songs,
yeah,
but
the origins of how do you
How
search
do you
for it?
search for it?
Yeah.
B-A-B-A-B-A-A.
yeah, how do you spell it? Yeah, is it with B's or like what letters do you even use?
We can't continue. You got to go to talk about Thanksgiving. Everyone's like, why do they keep doing that?
Okay, hip hop DJs were influenced by Jamaican sound systems such as the Kilimanjaro, a Jamaican and Jamaican Americans such as DJ Kool Herc. Incorporated blow rap, Jamaican mixtapes. The air horn then became a new hip hop attention signal for global artists such as Pharrell and Kanye West. Well, they could have named literally any rapper there. But they're just calling it an air horn.
Jamaican roots, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Kanye
Me
West?
neither.
What Kanye West song?
I don't remember any Kanye songs. Well, actually,
Meh.
yeah, I'm trying to like, where did that ever come in? Had to have been a high energy
Oh,
song.
oh no, wait, that's I'm thinking of Drake. It's in a Drake song. Like a sprained ankle, I ain't nothing to play with. It's in the beginning of that song, I think. Yeah.
So
the fact that you just remembered that,
Yeah.
like, wow.
No, it's in there, I think.
Impressive. Huh.
I think it's in the beginning of that song.
Dude, are you able to find this, Andrew?
I'll find something.
Me. Anyway, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving, you turkeys? Hashtag dad joke.
Turkeys.
Yeah, that was a good one. Pretty sure I'm going to 2 households. So an aunt and then lady's family. And yeah,
You're going to eat twice?
gonna probably end up eating twice. I
Oh
think
my
so.
That's a huge conundrum because I normally do at least 2 houses, at least, sometimes 3. Who do you give the bigger, or who do you receive the bigger plate from?
Both.
Because you don't want to be rude, but then like you kind of know, like if you eat too much at one, you're not gonna eat as much at the other one.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, I know my mom's, plates are going to taste the best, but that's usually the second one that we visit.
Ooh, you sure you want to say this live?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
everyone knows Mama Martha gets down.
Okay.
Yeah. But this year, we actually don't have to travel anywhere because my sister had not joked around, but like kind of teasing, like, hey, whoever got the most recent house has to host the next, big get together. And we passed on it last year just because we're like, oh, there's no way, like we can't host everybody.
Yeah.
And then this year it was like, hey babe, like what do you think? Like, do you want to, Thanksgiving? She's like, okay. And I was like, oh shit, all right. Well, she said yes, and like let's text my mom and my sister, like, hey, we're thinking, we're kind of excited. What do you guys think? And then right away, both, like, oh, that sounds great. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh no, it's set in. Like,
so did you ask that question for intending to hear a no?
Yeah, because and then the way I text, I was just like, but if you guys want to do something else, it's totally cool. Like if it's inconvenient to come all the way out here, like no big deal. Like we're not, like we won't be offended.
Yeah.
And right away they're like, no, it's cool. And the main reason I wanted to really host is because like I want to smoke a turkey. Like I'm going to cook a turkey on my Pit Boss smoker. So I'm like really like excited for that because like turkeys suck. Okay, like I don't care. I've never had one out of a smoker that had been smoking for
They
like
pretty much suck. I mean,
like 6
you
hours,
can get
though.
some like skin and some darker meat and stuff. I think it's pretty good. Like on those parts, but the rest of the turkey, it's just really dry.
It really is.
So what I'm hoping is like I cook like the best turkey that anyone's ever had, right?
Oh.
And then I pull out the Piedmontese tomahawk steaks and say, you guys enjoy that, I'm gonna have this. And just have everybody be upset at me.
Realize that
You peasants eat that.
Yeah. Once you do this, and once you have and host a great Thanksgiving, every Thanksgiving from this point is going to be at your place.
If the turkey comes out good and people love it, I'm all good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
Just something to note.
Yeah. Although as families grow, our house is not the biggest house, so yeah, I'm already trying to like strategize and play Tetris with like furniture and stuff to figure out where I'm going to put everybody. Straight up, there's going to be a table in the gym. Like that's where somebody's going to eat there. They get to eat with a gigantic mirror and maybe hit some squats. I don't know.
Yeah. No one ever cares though. I think I think it always works out okay.
Yeah.
There's always like everyone has the one relative with the backhanded compliments or backhanded comments, I should say. where they're like, "Oh, there's a table over here," but like
Mhm.
it'll happen like once or twice, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
why is there a table in your gym?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
send the kids to eat there. They'll eat
Right.
anywhere.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
the kids aren't getting a table. They get to go outside.
That's true. They can
Yeah.
eat on the ground or outside.
Mhm.
They're kids.
Yeah,
But it'll be cool though,
you're eating on
because
the ground.
yeah, it's just basically like immediate family.
Mhm.
So but that's already 30 people, so we'll see.
But Thanksgiving's one of those holidays, man, where it's like it's that and Christmas where everyone's like, "What do I do? I want to eat, but I
Mhm.
can't
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm on my diet."
Mhm.
I know everybody loses their mind.
I can't be on a diet right now because we got Thanksgiving coming up, so it's like,
Yes.
what's the point?
Yeah, no.
And people they really get crazy about, like, I've been talking about no carbs till Christmas. And then people are like, well, what about mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving? Or what about stuffing? And I don't know, like, those things they're pretty good. But, like, they're not like a game changer for me. Like, I could certainly deal without them. I guess I understand why people get pumped about them, but they're kind of, I don't know, they're just not that great of food.
Yeah.
And I don't really dig turkey. I do like stuffing, but I mean, you're just kind of eating a bunch of like mashed up bread or something, right? I don't even know what the hell stuffing is.
Stuffing?
It's like the insides of the turkey and some other shit, right?
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, it tastes pretty good, but like I don't know what the hell it is.
it's just I don't know what the mushy mashy part is, but the part that's like a little bit crunchier even
Mhm.
is just like croutons.
Right.
Oh, that's,
It's
exactly Nsima.
Right.
well, it
I'm
is like
visualizing that.
well, it is like
I'm
like
still fasting, so this is not good.
but it is like croutons, but then it's like the guts of the chicken or something, right?
Something
Like
yeah.
liver and weird shit.
It's
from the chicken.
supposed to be, but nowadays
Yeah,
it's
people
just
just
like
use whatever. Yeah,
yeah, like out of a box, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
it's not as it's
Not
good
as-
though.
not
It's
as
just-
authentic.
Yeah. I mean, all of you guys can speak to this. Since I have like an African Thanksgiving, there's a lot of cultural food there that I'm not eating during the rest of the year. There's
Oh.
jollof rice, there's a goosey soup, there's goat pepper soup, there's all of this stuff, which just like you don't get to have during the year, right? It's not like I mean,
getting Nigerian food is kind of not easy.
it's not the easiest. It's not something you're eating every day. So, some people are probably like, I don't get to eat a lot of this food that we have at Thanksgiving during the year. I don't
Mhm.
cook it up
Yeah, because
much.
Aunt
Mhm.
so and so makes this
Right.
specialty thing better than anybody on the
Right,
planet.
yeah.
Right?
Do you want to skip out so and so's so and so?
Mhm.
Or how can you navigate those waters? I think we
Mm.
should figure that out.
Yeah, just really quick on Spotify, there's a playlist just called "Songs Featuring the Air Horn."
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Perfect.
there's tons, man. Oh my gosh, yeah, tons of Drake, Madonna, Nicki Minaj.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah,
There we go.
there's tons.
But
oh my god, it's
I
really
mean,
long.
I know we talked about this the other day, but
Mm-hmm.
I utilize a lot of fasting when it comes to that, man.
Yeah.
Because like the day before and the day before, like 2 days before Thanksgiving, I'm already eating a little bit less food
Right.
in preparation for what I'm about to do.
Getting ready for the extra fuel you're about to throw down.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of food that I don't usually typically get to eat, and sometimes it's really just a nice treat to be able to get to have it rather than totally skipping it. That's one of those things that I know I'm gonna do this year.
Yeah. I mean, you guys got to kind of pick your battles, and I think as long as you go in with a plan, then I think you're going to win.
Mhm.
Now you just have to have a plan. If you plan to not mess up and then you mess up, I think that's like worse. Like, why not try to set yourself up for success and say, okay, I know that I'm not that strong-willed. I also feel like there's really no reason to be that strong-willed at this time of the year because I do want to enjoy my family. I do want to enjoy these foods. And so therefore, I'm going to go in with a game plan that allows me to be successful. Okay, here's a couple rules surrounding that week, So say like, starting on, the Monday before Thanksgiving, you cut back on your carbohydrate intake a little bit. Maybe you mess around with a little bit of fasting. And then that Thursday dinner comes or whenever you guys celebrate Thanksgiving, then you have at it.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking go for it. And you eat as much as you want and you eat the dessert and you get everything. And maybe you walk some of it off afterwards, but you let loose and you got the football game on and you just go for it. So it's like, whatever way you're going to try to go about doing it, just make sure you're, setting yourself up in a position where you can actually excel rather than, being, thinking that you're going to try, that you're going to stick to this plan, because you may not. You might fall apart.
It'd also be like Andrew eating his tomahawks. It might be a great idea to, like, if you're gonna bring some food too, or if you're one of those people who needs to bring some food, bring something that like would maybe fit your diet that you like some meat or something that is good, but it's also healthier. Because if you really are one of those people that you're like, okay, those are trigger foods for me. Once I eat this on Thanksgiving, I'm probably gonna take leftovers home, and it's gonna turn into a weak thing. Then just bring your own stuff with you so you can share it with others, and then you can just kind of stick to your stuff and stick to what you want to do.
Yeah, or just load up on the stuff that you can have, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Eat before you go is another good strategy. Eat before you have to even get there. Just get some food in your stomach so you're not so starving when you get there. So
Yeah, I think that'll be hard for a lot of people because there's like, oh, we have to get ready, or we gotta, prep the food that we're bringing, and then, I just know for us it was always like, okay, we're gonna like really get hungry so we could eat,
Yeah.
more at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And
you'll
then
still be able to eat a lot.
yeah,
for sure.
I just know that like, oh, don't, like, I've heard like, oh, don't eat because we're getting, till later.
I used to do that.
Yeah, or like try to sneak the rolls or something. That's what I would do.
Sneak the rolls?
Yeah, like like bread.
Oh, wow.
Like try to run up and grab, a piece of bread that you're not supposed to have till dinner, but it's right there. I
Yeah.
don't see what the big deal is, but
Yeah.
apparently it was a big deal.
Protein shake,
Mhm.
throw down a protein shake before you go. Anything you can do to mitigate it, and if you care about that. If you don't, then just go for it. But I'm going to Bodega Bay, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going on Monday, and then just staying there until I get kicked out.
Saw that text. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I'm getting out of here.
That
Yeah,
was hilarious.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. I plan on doing a lot of walking and stuff like that. It's just there's not much going on up there, which I actually like because it just gives me an opportunity to just chill the fuck out. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I like being around my family too. So we have a lot of family members, and there'll be kind of a lot of people coming and going throughout the days that we're up there. So I look forward to that as well.
Bunch of people from like New York and stuff too.
No one from New York.
Okay.
That's a little too much moving around. But yeah, just a lot of my fam in California, and then we have friends, and we got. It's interesting when you find like a vacation spot, you end up seeing people or that just happen to go there too, and we've run into a lot of friends, family friends, that just happen that they go there all the time as well. Like Andrew goes there, quite a bit, and so you just you're like, oh shit, like you live like 2 blocks down the street from me. I didn't know you go to Bodega as well, but yeah, it's a destination for some people. So we end up meeting and running into all kinds of people, which is a lot of fun. And then to me, the holidays are about kids, and we have a lot of kids in our family. So sometimes that can be a lot because there's a lot of little ones running around. But I'm excited for that. And there's some of my nieces that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm looking forward to that as well. You guys have a lot of kids in your families as well, or no?
I mean, growing up, Mexican family, we multiply like crazy.
I didn't want to say it.
So that's all right.
You said it.
It's not a stereotype if it's true. Growing up, yeah, that was actually like one of the Thanksgiving and Christmas were some of the best times because all the cousins would get together and we'd have like Madden tournaments or like Street Fighter tournaments. Like we'd literally like have like a whole like tree and everything. So there's tons of us now that we're all grown up. Like we don't see each other as much, but like in our like immediate families, like, yeah, my sister has 4 boys. My brother has 3 girls. We have 1 girl. And then Stephanie's brother has 1 boy. So like there's, yeah. And that's just the immediate family. So there are quite a bit of kids. Everyone's waiting for us to pump out some, but
Pump them out.
yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, not as much as it was when I was a kid, as far as having more cousins around. But yeah, we have some little rascals everywhere.
Yeah. Not that many for me, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just my cousin, she had 3 boys, and that's at least here in the States. I
Yeah.
think that's the only ones from the next generation below us. But there's a few in Nigeria. Like, I have a lot of family in Nigeria, so there's a lot over there, just not over here.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be fun. Yeah, it's always great, like seeing a lot of people you haven't seen, and it's crazy. Like every Thanksgiving, it just makes me realize how much I don't have contact with my family, which
Yeah,
is
I
it's
know.
a really sad
Yeah.
thing to really think about, because as kids we used to all be tight knit. But I mean, it's not like everybody does this, but our family just kind of, at least if they weren't the nuclear family,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
just fizzled out.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens. And yeah, every year you're like, oh, I should talk to some of these people more. Like, not everybody, but I should talk to at least some of them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you never really.
You always
never
say,
really do.
yeah, we'll talk. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Until next Thanksgiving.
It's the whole we got to hang out this summer.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of the blessing though of having family is that it doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah.
like if it was a friend and you continued to abuse them that way, you know, you probably would never talk again. But because it's family, or I mean, I guess you can get that way sometimes with a really close friend. But with family, it's like every time you see each other, it's as if you never left, and you start talking about stuff. And you know, I also find it interesting that you know I can get up and talk in front of people and do different things, but then I'm kind of socially awkward, and sometimes you know don't know what to say or how to act around you know other relatives. Like I don't know why, but I don't like I'm not much of a small talker anyway. Like I'm not much of a guy to like be talking about like the weather or anything like that, and so it's hard for me to like engage and get rolling on a conversation, and I'm not interested in that much stuff. That's a big problem for me. Like if I guess I'm interested in more stuff than I realize, but I'm not interested in like a lot of things that are just like going on sometimes. So I'm not gonna like I don't know all of a sudden start talking about like pop culture or
Stuff
what's
that's in
going
the
on
news.
in Afghanistan or something. Like I just don't even know what's going on. Unfortunately, I should probably be more aware, but I don't really know. So I ain't got much to say when it comes to a lot of that stuff. Now, if somebody talks about like what they do for a living, I always find that really fascinating. Um, not for any other reason than just to like learn more about it. Someone's like, "Oh, I'm a contract attorney," and I'm like, "Okay, well, what does that mean?" You know, I want to like, you know, hear more about it. Or it doesn't matter what the business is. I'm always kind of like, "Oh, that's kind of neat," and I just sit there and think like, "Okay, that's pretty cool. That's like that's how they make their money. That's how they sustain everything." Like, okay, that's cool, you know. But other than that,
Yeah.
I got nothing to say for some reason.
Yeah. No, small talk is very tough for me too. Cause like I usually just end up talking to that person and learning about them. That's what that's my tactic. And anyone wants to know the tactic of how I maintain conversations with most people, it's I ask them questions about themselves and I let them go. I just let them
So
roll.
that way you're off the hook.
I'm off the hook.
You're like, so anyway, let's talk more about you.
Yeah, but like but the thing is I don't do that just to do that. I do that because I'm actually interested. Like
Right.
you know, if anybody's going to talk about something, usually they're really interested in talking about themselves. And a lot of the time, for some reason, people don't ask other people much about themselves. So when someone can get rolling and you can learn about them, I like that. Like learning about what they do, deeply about what they do.
Yeah.
That's actually really interesting. I'd rather talk about that than, I don't know, some random shit that was on the last reality TV show or something like that. I can't do that.
I like talking about the family too. And you know, somebody starts talking about, you know, Uncle so and so, and then you're like, "Oh, I didn't know he used to live there." And like I like learning more about the family cuz then it gives me better insight into, you know, like who I am and where I came from and stuff like that. And when I went to New York last summer, I talked to my uncles quite a bit about my grandpa. And I've always been fascinated by my grandfather, but I was asking a lot of questions about like what he was like to like work with, because i- he kind of had like I think a lot of parents have this happen to them where they work really hard during a certain period of time in their life, and they don't have time for their kids. Like they work their ass off, and yeah, they do spend time with the kids, but not much because they're always working. Well, my grandpa was like super focused in on his work. He worked from home so that he could be with the kids, but the kids always annoyed him. He was always like grumpy, not always grumpy towards them, but he was pretty like he was a hard ass, you know?
Yeah.
And then anytime he always wanted the kids to work on the cars with him. He had a used car lot at his house.
Hmm.
And he always wanted the kids to work with him, but anytime they worked with him, he'd be frustrated with them because they didn't know how to do certain things, or some of them just didn't want to get like dirty. You know, he'd have grease and oil, you know, all embedded into his fingers every day of his life
Yeah.
because that's what he did. He was a mechanic, and you know, so I was asking some of them. I was like, well, how? Like, what was he like to like work with and stuff? They're like, he was a maniac. like he, like he was impossible. Like he was a perfectionist, and you couldn't do anything with him. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I don't know, just learning like stuff like that. And they said he had like a really short temper, and I'm like, short temper. I'm like, okay, my brother Mike had that. I'm like, that skipped me, but I do want things a particular way sometimes. Not everything, but I am that way with some stuff, and I try to be aware of that, and I try to be like, okay, I should be easier to work with. I should give a fuck more about people. I should pay attention to what they're doing and what they're saying, and so it just gives me some good insight into my own life, I guess.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that. Like, you saw a lot of similarities between you and him, right? Yeah. So I talk to my mom all the time, obviously, but there's one thing, because like I knew my dad. I didn't spend much time with him, right? But she says I'm a lot like him, and I was like, well, okay, that I don't know what to take about that. And there's just this way that first off he talks, that I'm just apparently just very. It seems that I don't care a lot of the time. Like that's just a trait I've always had. Like a lot of people will think I'm not interested in something because I'm just really chill about most things. And she's like, "Wow, he did that all the time too," but I didn't even pick that up from him. It's just a trait. Like really, just things just like roll off my back, and I just I don't care. And I didn't get that from her because she cares about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, I guess, the way things pass down, even if you're not around that person a lot. Just
You're
like
right.
it just could be your genetic nature to be that way.
Right.
It's so cool.
No,
Like,
it is. I'm similar in some ways. I just there's certain things I just don't really care that much about. Like I literally don't care that much about them. And I've had people say like, it doesn't seem like you care about anything. It's like, well, no, I do. I care about some stuff, but I like to be even.
Yeah.
I like to be kind of even keel. Like I don't like to, get way too high up on anything. I don't like to get, way too down about anything. When things are going really good, I think, something else is around the corner. That's probably not great, Not like I'm looking for it. I'm not searching for it. Things, relatively speaking, are they always feel like they're getting better. Really, I feel really good about everything. But I also know that like I'm gonna wake up and not feel great. I'm gonna wake up and have days where I feel amazing and everything's perfect and I'm just super happy. I'm in an amazing mood. My wife's in an amazing mood. My kids are in good mood. Like there's a lot of days like that. That happens more often than it doesn't, right? But at the same time, I don't like to get like overly excited or worked up about anything in either direction, whether it's high or low. How about you, Andrew? How are you with that?
I used to be real. Is it pessimistic? Is that the word?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glass is half empty.
Yeah, just like and it started with like sports too, like oh, the Kings are doing good, but man, they always blow it in the third quarter, so I'm not even gonna get excited for this. And that would like roll into
Oh yeah, we
like,
talked about that with like allergies. Like, oh,
Yep,
here we go, it's
exactly.
allergy
Yep.
season.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna get another.
Oh yeah. Oh, so and so got sick. Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna get sick, and what would happen? I would be totally fine, and I would get sick. I used to, and like I said, that would roll into the rest of my life. Like, I don't know, I got a new job. Like, oh, this is cool. I got a new job, but I'm probably, eventually gonna wear it out or whatever it is. So that was terrible.
Yeah.
Thankfully, like it just took a handful of good things to happen for me to be like, you dumbass, like just think positive.
Mm-hmm.
And then honestly, like even up until like the Charlie Rocket episode, like I would still have some doubts of and certain things. And then after that episode, I was like, man, like I'm on a winning streak. Like no matter what, like my fiance locked herself out of the house the other night, and she's like, I want a winning streak. I'm like, yeah, wherever you were supposed to go, like maybe it just wasn't meant to be, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and then now, like just with some shitty things that have happened in my life, you know, to me,
Mm-hmm.
they had to happen for a reason. So I'm like, there is no such thing as a bad experience anymore.
Yeah.
Like 100% absolute. Like you can't tell me anything different.
Mm-hmm.
During the Meathead Millionaire Summit, everybody had something bad happen to them that they turned into something extremely positive.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm living that life 100%. Like everything is like it has to happen. We were hoping to, because we're engaged right now, and we were hoping to kind of set the date and have it happen to be in November. Schedule got weird and it didn't work out. Had we went and got married, I probably wouldn't be on this shred-again tip right now.
Mm.
Like, and who knows where this is going to lead to now. You know, I mean, for sure it's going to lead to better wedding photos because, you know what I mean?
Dreaded.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So as happy as I would be, you know, like officially being married, like it's going to be even better when we do tie the knot later on down the road.
Mm.
So yeah, now the cup is always, it's not even half full, it's 100% full.
I think what you said there, dude, is like the whole, you used to be pessimistic, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think like you were always that before then though, but like I think things start out super small. It could start out with like one day you're at baseball practice and your coach said something and it got you thinking in a pessimistic way, right? But you just had that one thought, but then
Mhm.
that one thought trickled and became more, and it turned into a literal personality trait, and it's the way you are. That's why I think it's so important to like guard the way you think,
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
and your self-talk, because that self-talk will turn into an actual trait. When it turns into a trait, it's so hard to reverse, but you have, which is
Mhm.
fucking awesome.
Mhm.
But that's why it's like the things you think are so important.
I think a lot of times we don't even realize how negative we really are, you know, and that's why you also have to protect yourself from outside influences because it's like, dude, negativity, I got that part under control. Like I
Mhm.
don't need your help. I tell myself plenty of bad things every day or talk myself out of stuff every day. And so you have to kind of protect yourself from yourself and you got to protect yourself. And it's hard to do that all the time. You know, it's hard to be conscious of that all the time. But there's a lot of things I think that happen that you just don't even really think about. You're thinking like, you know, I'm going to stop drinking when I get out of college. You know, I'm
Mhm.
going to, uh, you know, I'm going to get on a better diet as soon as I move into a better apartment because this apartment kind of sucks. I can't cook here, right? I'm going to, you know, be better this way or better that way when you move here or when you do this or when you do that. And you probably won't. Because there's not really there's not truly an excuse on why you're acting that way
Mhm.
or why you're doing what you're doing currently. Um, there's not a legitimate reason for it. You know, there's a big difference between a reason and an excuse. Like if you are if let's say that you are way off your diet and you gain some weight and but somebody just died, you know, it's like, well, that's a legitimate reason. Like that happens to a lot of people. Or you were sick so you got off your diet. Like there's reasons, right? And then there's excuses, and you got to be careful that you're not telling yourself a bunch of these little lies and just allowing it to happen to you all the time because that's super negative too.
Mhm. Yeah, and then so like, you know, being a pessimistic, it's sort of like it's
A
totally
pessimist.
yeah, there you go. Pessimisticism. Is it's just a straight up this is going to sound mean, but it's a loser mentality because you're predicting that something's going to go bad, and then therefore you're like, I know it's going to go bad, so I'm just going to accept it now and start heading that direction right now. You know, like it's such a shitty place to be in, such like a mindset to be in. But I mean, yeah, like I was there. Like I would literally like will bad things to happen Whereas now it's, you can do the opposite, right?
It's not even that light. Yeah, like you're right. If you assume it's going to go bad, okay. If it does, okay, whatever. I thought it would, but
Yeah, I
you,
called it.
yeah,
I knew it.
but you you unconsciously
Told you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, but you unconsciously make decisions, like small decisions that you probably don't even realize. You'll make those decisions, and it will end up going bad because it's like you're not. I'm not going to say thinking yourself into the right direction, but if you're not even positive about it, you won't make positive actions to
Right.
try and achieve whatever it is you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, that.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you think you're a pessimist or you act that way, you got to change that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like what Charlie said. You click on that frequency and you start receiving, that positivity, or you start noticing, or you start seeing these little windows of opportunity that you wouldn't even be paying attention to unless you were thinking more positively.
Yeah.
and you were tuned into that frequency. That episode was fucking great. You guys need to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah. Someone that talks a lot about this stuff actually messaged you guys about this guy today. You probably know Dr. Joe Dispenza.
No, I don't know if I know who he is.
Dr. Joe Dispenza.
I'm sure I've probably come across him if he's talking in this light, because I look at all kinds of people that do this stuff.
Yeah, man. He's one of those guys who, like, he himself, it's going to sound wild, but like part of his story is that he had like a horrible injury where a bunch of like his discs were messed up in his back, right?
Oh,
Doctors wanted to give him surgery, but he went in, like he just like was like, no, I don't want the surgery. And he legit, like, over time was just like visualizing and thinking about his vertebrae going back into place, blah, blah, blah. And after a period of months or whatever, he was
the guy. Okay.
You know who he is then.
Yes, he wrote.
And it sounds wild, but he's helped a lot of people with stuff like this.
He wrote the book, You Are the Placebo.
Yes, he wrote that book.
That's a good book.
Yeah. And Evolve Your Brain. And
if you're a pessimist, you have to read that book, or do what I did, which is listen to the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
Huge for me. Like, he was on with our boy Impact Theory. Why is his name escaping me again? Tom Bilyeu.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah, he was on there.
Sick.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know if there's...
I have seen this guy.
Yeah. I just wanted to pull something up. Just so
Yep.
you can see him. But yeah, that book is crazy.
I haven't read You Are the Placebo, but I should.
He shows the study where, like, they took 10 elderly people who are walking in canes, wheelchairs and whatnot, and they're like, hey, you're just gonna live as if it was like 50 years ago. And then they gave them like newspapers from 50 years ago on like old TVs, only old TV shows. And they're like, hey, just talk and pretend that you are currently living this in this year or whatever. And then by the end of the study, like, they were out like playing football, like nobody even had walkers, and it was just, everything was all mental for, because like, oh, when you get older, you're supposed to have a hurt back and blah, blah, blah and whatnot. And they believed it, and then flipped that around, and all of a sudden now they believe that they're 50, 30 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they start acting like it. It's just wild.
Yeah, man.
It sounds kind of dumb, in some ways, to like have all this, weird positive self-talk. But I think it's important. I think it's, it's huge. You're on your way to the gym, and rather than fucking around with your stereo and doing whatever else you're doing, why not just take a second? It doesn't take long at all. Just take a second and just tell yourself, I'm gonna have a great workout today. I can't wait to get to the gym. Like, it's gonna be awesome. There's some sort of dialogue like that. It doesn't have to sound the same way every time. You can come up with different scenarios, or I'm gonna have a really good practice today, or I'm gonna, I can't wait for an opportunity to take that test because I studied really hard for it. Things like that. I think just that little bit, I think, can really help push you over the top. When it comes to like sort of like willing things to happen, they used to say like Michael Jordan would just take over a basketball game and he would just will it to happen, Well, he didn't really will it to happen, because he didn't only use his mind. There was a lot of physical activity that went into that. And if you go back and watch, his career, like, he lost a lot of games, he won a lot of games. He was super clutch and he was super calm, but he had an amazing skill set, that his skills were so high that when the game was on the line, he knew exactly what to do. And because he seemed like the only guy on the court that had the guts to at least pretend like he knew what to do, then he was the guy. Right? That's the difference between him and probably nearly everybody else on the court, is he believed in himself enough to know, like, I'm going to make a fucking decision with this ball. And I don't care what anybody else thinks about this decision. Even if it doesn't look like the right decision, I'm going to make it right, because even if I miss, I'm going to go after that ball as if my life depended on it. And I'm going to rebound it, or I'm going to tip it just enough so it gets to somebody else, or it goes in. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm making a decision, and the decisions that I make may not always be right, but I'm going to force them to be right. But just the fact that he had the guts to be the guy who was like, yeah, I'll be the leader. I'll do this. Yeah, if we lose, it's on me. If we win, it's on me. I'll take all that pressure. And so, a lot of people just think, oh, he willed it to happen. But it's a combination. Yeah, he did will it to happen. He had a lot of willpower. He had a lot of self-belief, and he was probably, shutting out a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah, and he definitely was, I guess, probably the hardest worker on that team almost every single year that he was there, if not every single year. But it wasn't just like, yeah, you're right. It wasn't just like him thinking about it and, visualizing it or whatever, but he legit worked harder than everybody because of his belief. It wasn't just because he worked hard all the time. He believed in what he was doing so deeply that it caused him to be that great. So you need both. Like, if you have a program, if you're working out in the gym, you can't just come and just work out every single day. You need to have positive self-talk. You need to reinforce what you're doing to make sure it lasts. Make sure you like all of the hard work you're putting in, because some days it just might not feel so good. So
yeah, if I didn't believe in the plan that you guys have written out, or not written, but like have told me thus far, I wouldn't have been super stoked to wake up at 2 this morning. So yeah, there's a lot of belief that I have in you guys.
Yeah.
Andrew, why do you think that you have read a lot of books but maybe have not taken the advice? And why do you think Charlie Rocket's advice landed on you particularly well on that particular day? Any insight into that?
That's a great question. I wish I could answer it.
Maybe just before you weren't ready for it?
Actually, Nsima and I were just talking about this when it comes to following and unfollowing somebody. Yeah, I know, right?
I'm gonna follow everybody.
Yeah, like a picture could just show up on your feed at the right time and the right moment, and it just happens to be the right picture to where you're like, all right, dude, I'm done with you, unfollowed. Like, what? It doesn't. Obviously, it's somebody that you're following, so whatever. At one point, you were at least digging them. With the Charlie Rocket thing, I think it was just a handful of things. I wish I could nail it down to 1 or 2, but I think it's just having him here in person, hearing his story, and just like the way he carried himself. And obviously, a book you can't like go up and give a big hug to. Like, I mean, technically you can, but it's not gonna hug you back. Yeah, I think just having him actually here in person really, really did it. Like, if I would have seen his Nike commercial, it would have fell flat. It wouldn't have affected me at all. But I think just the fact that he was like in the area and he was like, "Yeah, I'll come on y'all's podcast." You know, the way he talks. Yeah, that was just really cool. And then yeah, dude, I don't know. Like when it comes to books, sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. Like I would say I mean, I'm a huge Aubrey Marcus fan. I would say the Joe Dispenza book affected me more than Aubrey Marcus's book did. And his was super simple. It was just like a couple things like per chapter, like, hey, this is what I do, this is why I do it, and here's like your like here's what you should do, or like here's like your homework basically, and it was great. Like I did learn a lot of things, and I still implement a lot of those in my life, but it wasn't as impactful as the placebo book. Yeah.
Maybe the placebo book sounds like it's more general rather than Aubrey Marcus's book sounds like it's more specific, and it's like this is what I've done. This has helped me,
Mhm.
and I really hope that it helps you. The placebo book sounds like it's something like some of these practices and some of this information can help literally anybody.
Yeah.
Kind of more like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then the Stephen Pressfield book, The War of Art. Yeah, not The Art of War. Everybody, they always hit me up and like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
this book's gigantic." I'm like, "That's the wrong one. It's a small book." That was another huge influential book in my life. Whereas another one called something like Real Artist Steal or some shit like that.
hmm
Something like that. Yeah, that one I don't even remember anything about it. I'm like, I was so pumped to read that book, and it was well, not garbage. Just for me, it did absolutely nothing, and I can't tell you why one did better than the other.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense
Mhm.
though. But the thing is, the the line that's going through all of this and what you're saying though is that you were always seeking out something. You were always trying to seek out some type of information that might have helped you out. You read one book, it wasn't that great. You read another book, it wasn't that great. You
Mhm.
read a third, it wasn't that great. But that fourth one hit you for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
I think a lot of times when as I'm going through some of that stuff, I find like maybe something didn't hit me before, but I read something in another book that reminded me of something I read before, and then something just clicks and something
Mhm.
hits for me. But it's just because there's this you're consistently seeking things out,
Mhm.
trying to get better, trying to learn more. And that's why. If you never did any of it, then you would have just been screwed.
Yeah.
So would I. I would have been screwed
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like I actually, I hate reading. I do not like doing it. Like I have a hard time following words on a line. Like I get a little dyslexic, but I actually see the bottom word on the top line as opposed to left and right. So I
Oh.
do audiobooks, and so I think that's why also having people here is huge. Like like Bedros Keuilian, that was
Mhm.
very impactful
Oh.
in my life.
Yeah.
So would I have had that same, or would he have had that same influence on me if I read his book? No, he wouldn't have. However, having him here, listening to him did. Now the book might, which is again what you were saying, like time and a place, or like just certain things have to be put in the right order in order for it to actually do something for me.
Yeah, and then there's like interpretation,
Mhm.
interpretation of what you saw or what you read, and we all interpret things very differently. If if we were to watch something that was really cinematic, um, if we were to watch like a movie that people view like Gone with the Wind or something, people
Mhm.
view that this is like one of the greatest movies ever, right? You have a lot of experience with like photography and stuff, Andrew, but all of us probably have similar experience with um, watching movies, right? And like our understanding of like cinema, right? Well, all three of us are going to have a way different. Uh, we're going to remember different things from the movie.
Mhm.
All three of us can remember different things, and you say, "Hey, what really stood out to you?" Now, it might be a little common theme, right? What really stood out to you? Um, but how far off are we going to be versus the kid that graduated from film school, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or someone that just loves the art of cinema, or somebody that studied it, or whatever the hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna look at that and they're gonna be like, "You fucking idiots! Are
Oh
you
yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
You like
You
the fact that
peasants.
you like this scene? Like that scene was garbage. That didn't even wasn't even shot that well. It
Well,
wasn't edited well. It was terrible."
let's test it right now. Your favorite part of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I got mine right away.
I got mine.
It was yeah, I got mine.
Okay, so mine was when he threw the dog food at the hippie that broke
yeah.
in.
I like the
That's one-
flamethrower.
I liked Bruce Lee.
There you go.
I got 3 different ones.
All right.
That was good though. The dog thing
It
and
was
the
so
flamethrower
funny.
was
Yeah.
crazy.
The flamethrower
Flamethrower
was
was
actually
hilarious.
that was really good.
I was just like, what the fuck?
Bruce, dude, when he threw the fucking dog food, it just wham right in her face. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
That was awesome.
that was so good.
Oh, man.
But I think your previous education and stuff matters a lot. Your perception, and then just like where you are in your life. Like sometimes you're just not ready to receive stuff.
Mhm.
So that book that you said that you weren't that interested in, it'd actually be interesting for you to go back and listen to a little bit of it, because I bet you'd go, "Oh my god, like it said this. Oh
Mhm.
shit.
No,
Oh wow,
absolutely.
I'm gonna write. Oh my god, like there's a bunch of stuff that you probably people say that all the time. They see something in a movie like that. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
was that always there? Did they always say that? Or
Is this
somebody,
the director's cut? Like,
Yeah.
hold on.
somebody read a book and they're like, what? Like, I didn't know that was, in this book. Or,
Yeah.
but it's just because you changed and you matured and you grew and but the cool thing is I agree 100% with Nsima that you're always in search of something. And that's crucial because you could have gave up. First couple books could have been kind of dumb and you could have been like, oh, fuck this reading thing.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
not messing with it.
Yeah, I don't even know where that came from. I just remember like anytime there was a Barnes and Nobles or a bookstore, and again, I have to reiterate, I hate reading. Like I don't do it. Maybe I just don't know how to read.
Yeah.
But every time there was this, or going to the library, I would get super pumped, and I'd always go to like self-help or like the educational side of things. I would never go to the what's the fake one? It's fiction.
Fiction? Yeah,
'Cause
fiction, yes,
nonfiction's-
nonfiction's real.
Okay, so I would never go to the like I never read like Harry Potter or anything. Like
Yeah.
I thought like, oh man, let's just watch the movie or whatever. Like I've never watched those, but yeah, like I would always And then speaking of Bedros, I liked what he said. He's like, you always hear people talk about like, oh, I've read 100 books this year. He's like, dude, that's not impressive. He's like, you're not going to retain any information, and you're going to have like different views combating each other.
Mhm.
He's like, how about you read 10 books 100 times? That's impressive. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back and read a couple books then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Study it. Yeah.
yeah. Why we sleep? I got to touch up on that one again.
Mm.
It's time.
Still surprised you haven't watched any Harry Potter movies, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, it just missed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't my thing. I didn't like Lord of the Rings either. I didn't get it.
You are weird.
Harry Potter's really
sports.
good.
It is.
Jasmine's really into it. I should probably give it a go. but
Harry Potter is really good.
I watched Tangled the other night.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Part of it.
The cartoon one?
Yeah,
It was good.
yeah. I mean, the parts that I saw, I think were pretty good.
I told you about. Fuck no.
Too late. What's up?
No, like
Uh-oh.
me and my lady have a guilty pleasure.
Hmm.
Well, it's not so guilty for her, but it's weird for me. I'll watch Twilight with her, like when the cold comes around. We'll go through all 3, 4. Yeah, and it's like I wouldn't watch it on my own, but it's very enjoyable. it's quite dramatic.
We're talking about vampires, right?
Vampires and werewolves. I'm totally Team Jacob because Edward's a creep, but
This is the
man.
one where the vampires twinkle at night, right?
Yeah, they twinkle
Okay.
in the sun. They twinkle.
Oh, okay.
The sun
sorry.
doesn't hurt them, but they'll sparkle. That's why they don't go out in the sun, because everyone will see that they're a vampire because they sparkle.
Mm.
So,
Oh,
hey, you know what's funny?
that story.
That story is quite hilarious. But I saw Breaking Dawn with me and my homie were like, it was like 4 years ago, and it came out in theaters, and we're just like, oh, let's go watch Breaking Dawn. So we're these 2 dudes. We're probably the only 2 dudes in theater. We want to watch Breaking Dawn. We're like, bruh, so much action.
Breaking what?
It's called Twilight Saga: Breaking Dawn.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think actually we saw Breaking Dawn Part 2. Yes, Breaking Dawn Part 2. Anyway, weird, but it is what it is. I am who I am.
It's pretty funny.
We're not accepting of it.
No, yeah.
You really shouldn't be.
No.
No man should be
As long as
enjoying
you
the
can
Twilight
admit that,
series.
we're on the step to a little bit closer of helping you out.
God.
Yeah. That's
Anyway,
yeah.
where weren't we?
We weren't talking about books, and I had just mentioned that
Mhm.
Bedros was saying it's more impressive to read, like, I think 10 books 100 times
Yeah.
versus 100 books, because you're not gonna be able to retain, some of the views and stuff.
Andrew, were you around successful people as a kid at all?
I always looked at my dad as somebody who was super successful. He worked extremely hard. He worked all the time. Like, he had the flu. He would never miss work. And then when I started like working, and I looked at my paychecks, and I'm like, dude, my dad gets more taxes taken out of his checks than I actually make total, right?
Mhm.
Like, I just remember being like, damn, like that guy makes a lot of money. Looking back now, like, he wasn't the most successful person. He's always working for somebody and he loved what he did, but he always wanted to do his own thing, and he never made the jump. Did
you ever hear him talk about that?
all the time. He'll to this day he'll never admit that like that he was too afraid to like start his own like shop or something. He was a body man, so he was into cars and he worked on them. And even still to this day, he talks about like, maybe I'll start taking some side work at home. And I'm just like, all right, man, you've been saying it my whole life.
So
right?
you think that impacted you?
The idea of doing my own thing definitely did. And seeing that he loved his job, I didn't understand it at first. I was just like, I don't understand. Like, dude, I fucking hate school. Like, if I could not go, or like I always make an excuse to like be sick or something. I couldn't figure it out, like why I couldn't be consistent with school. And then when I started working, I was like, dude, I hate my job. I don't understand. Like, when is it ever going to turn on for me to where I just become this responsible adult that never misses work, that shows up every single day? And then I realized one day, it's like, oh, he loves what he does. That's why he does not miss work. And so now as a photographer and then, podcasting and stuff, like, yeah, you can't keep me away from, this building now because I love what I do.
So it impacted you positive in one sense where you were like, well, I should figure out, one day to do something that I love to do, but maybe also impacted you slightly in a negative way, to where you heard some of his negative self-talk on why he didn't leap and jump towards those things. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's like
not a therapy session, but I'm just trying
to no, it's all good
see where it all came from.
Yeah, because like I have good credit because I saw how not to treat your credit with my brother and sister. Like, both of theirs got torched right away. I'm like, whatever they're doing, I'm not gonna do that. And it's the same thing with like, alcohol. Like, oh, like there's something there. I don't want to be like that either. So that was another reason why I don't drink, But yeah, and then family members, unfortunately, I'm not as close to all my uncles and cousins on my mom's side. And that's a lot of, well, not a lot, a good portion of them are still in Mexico. And then the ones that are here, they almost all only speak Spanish. But even with that said, they're all really successful. Like, they have like crazy like businesses and stuff. Like, they own tons of properties and whatnot. But I didn't grow up around them. Unfortunately, I wish I did. So even though I did have successful people around me, like I didn't really like, dig deep and hang out with them that much. And I mean, other than like, my parents did do like some like, what's the not direct sales, but like
network marketing,
MLM, yeah, that stuff. And then so like I would see what like some like older people that were in that like type of business that would make a lot of money, and be like oh, okay, but that obviously never led to anything.
It's funny that first off, it's funny that you asked that question, because it got me thinking too, like, what is it that why did we end up going down that rabbit hole of like learning about, I guess, not just self-development, but just teaching yourself things, right? And for me, that didn't happen until like later. Like, my mom is an engineer or whatever. She's a successful academic. She has a great job.
Not whatever, man.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
No, I'm not trying to even downplay what she's doing, but that was the direction that I was heading until I met some people that were doing network marketing. And I started like talking to one of the upper people in that. And then he told me to read a few of these books. And then when I did, I was just like, what am I doing? Like that was one of those things that led me down that rabbit hole, to think like in an entrepreneurial way, doing something outside of the box that I was already doing it in. So it was because I was exposed to those individuals. It wasn't because I just magically went to the library and found some of that stuff. It's because they told me, hey, check this out. Let me know what you think. So yeah, no, that in and of itself, it's like, if you're around successful people, or not just successful people, just like people that are doing maybe some things that you want to do, or somehow around them, that makes a massive difference.
Yeah, and I know this is for sure for Mark and myself. Like, I kind of always felt like I'm not gonna I'm definitely going to be doing something different. Like I'm
Mm.
not going to like clocking in and out, like, you
Yeah.
know, working for something like that. Like I'm not put here on this planet to do that. Did you feel like that growing up too?
No, until I like started volunteering at the hospital, and then I started being just like really disliking how like they just looked and worked.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, I was still like, well, just got to suck it up and get used to this until I like, started, I guess, reading some of those other entrepreneurial type books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then it kind of opened up your mind to be like, oh, there is another.
It's actually possible.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I know Mark says it all the time. He's like, yeah, he's like I kind of knew that I was destined for something weird,
Mm.
something different.
Yeah, I just saw my dad, wearing a suit and tie all the time, and I was like, I definitely don't want to do that. But then I also saw my dad wear a suit and tie, every day for 19 years, and then get, booted out of the company, right before he was like eligible for all these other, retirement and all other kinds of things if he would have worked there for 20 years. So I was like, it's like that doesn't. It appeared that like I think job security is is kind of false, unless
Mhm.
you have really unless you really have developed yourself, and that's why I tell people all the time, make sure you're working on yourself as hard or even harder on yourself than you are on your job, because if you do get thrown out on your ass, I mean, we don't ever know what's going to happen here at Slingshot. Maybe I have to get rid of 10 people. Like, I would not want that to happen, but you just never know, right? But if those 10 people that I let go, if they acquired a great skill set while working here, then yeah, there's a lot of hard feelings and it sucks and it's hard, but I'm going to go make money somewhere else, right? So, I think for myself, kind of seeing what happened with my dad, and then seeing my dad be really smart and be able to transition without slowing down at all into taxes and real estate and working from home, because that was kind of part of the problem with IBM too, is that he wasn't around that much. And so my mom was like, well, maybe you can figure out something, to do from home. And I think at that time he already did taxes on the side. And so he just started doing that more full time and took on more clients. And I got to see that. I had, I've talked about it before, but we had weights in our basement, and on the other side of the basement was my dad's tax practice. And so I would, see him interacting with those people all the time. And I kind of learned, some entrepreneur type stuff, I guess, at a really young age, just by kind of being around him. But I wasn't around like, anyone who was like crazy successful. My parents did really well. My dad made some good money for sure. I mean, we were like, upper middle class, around that range. Um, but I mean, other than my dad, it's like the rest of the family was just more normal. They were like teachers and things like that. And
Mhm.
um, I definitely grew up with an abundance of stuff. So like directly next to me, I had my dad, who was successful, but not. I don't even really think that the success part of it mattered that much to me. Although I was fascinated by it, I was like fascinated by the fact that, oh, if you work this hard, then you can just end up not hard is the wrong word. If you work this like intelligently, because a lot of people work hard. Sometimes the hardest workers that anyone ever sees are immigrants, and they have 3 jobs, but they don't make any money.
Yeah.
So it's not just working hard; it's working hard, kind of with what you have, the skill set that you have, and being able to really monetize that. But like kind of seeing that from my dad, it made me kind of wonder about the power of money and what it can do. But more so than that, like what I was surrounded with was just like happiness and fun and love. Like there was just a fucking abundance of it. Like everyone was super happy when we would get together at my grandfather's house. Everyone was like, I mean, we were always so excited to go to his house and to meet up with my cousins and see my aunts and my uncles and stuff like that. It was like, I don't even, it was almost like when you're a kid and you go to your friend's birthday party.
Mhm.
Remember how fucking pumped you were for that?
Yeah.
Like your friend invited you over for milk and cookies or some shit, or invited you over because he's having a party, or they rented a trampoline or something, and you'd be like super pumped.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that way all the time. Every time I went over to my grandparents' house, I felt that way. So that was something that probably had a larger impact on me than anything. Like that was my view of success. It's like whatever this setup is to be like that happy, I want to figure that out.
Mm.
And again, most of my family members are like teachers and just kind of regular jobs. So I guess my point is on that, like you don't have to be, balling. You don't have to be super wealthy to have enough financial freedom to where you can be really fucking happy every day.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I grew up around. That helped a lot. But
That makes, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, right? Like during the again, back to that the Meathead Millionaire Summit, Rob and Dana were just like, yeah, like we're good right now, and yeah, we want to make X amount of millions, but if that means like something changes, like maybe we're just fine right here.
Mm-hmm.
They were cool with making less if that meant they can still remain as happy as they are right now. Like, is X amount millions more going to make them happier, or is it going to kind of take away from this and that? And there's like, if it does, then we're good.
yeah, you start to sacrifice your relationship with the people that are close to you, and start to
Mhm.
sacrifice friendships and stuff. And it's like, some of that doesn't sound great. If you have to burn some people because you work really fucking hard and they can't handle that, that's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
That there's going to be people that are kind of burned up in that line of fire. But other than that, then yeah, you have to really take a step back and think to yourself, is that, is it really worth it? Because what are you going to have a bunch of money and then be like by yourself?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very fun.
It
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't at all.
And I know you're pretty comfortable, like, talking about like money stuff, right? I remember there was like I don't know if it was a study or whatever it was, but it was like after something only like, was it like
Yeah.
$80,000 a
It was
year?
like-
or
Yeah, I think it's like
something?
70K or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like after that, like, money doesn't give you more happiness. But I mean, Mark, you've blown well past that. I mean, do you agree with some of that, all of that, none of that?
I don't.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
going to Tesla must feel pretty
Yeah.
damn good, right?
Yeah. It does. It does. It feels really good. I went from zero, so I don't have a reference point
Mhm.
of making any other dollar amount. I went from nothing to making a lot. Like I didn't have I didn't exist as far as income taxes are concerned, pretty
Hmm.
much, for a pretty long time. I was kind of off the books for many years, and when I think about like, yeah, like, kind of making that kind of money, I guess, my wife and I had some points in our life where she was working her way up the ladder and where she was making money,
Mm-hmm.
and we were probably in that neighborhood, and making even quite a bit less. I mean, even making almost half of that. We've been happy the whole time. I mean, we really have. I mean, I remember, like it being a big deal going out to eat, it being a big deal going out. Like we would go out somewhere nice, and I remember that being a big deal, and we were like, oh shit, it's gonna be like $120. Like this is gonna hurt a little bit. I remember doing that kind of stuff, but that was still fun. I guess just like not having to worry about bills at all. It's like kind of amazing. And then plus for me, I have way more money coming in than I do going out. So it's like I see like a check will come or something, I don't even know how we get paid half the time, but I've seen some checks before from say like a company like Elite FTS, because they order, slingshot products. I'll see a check like that come in, and that'll always be significantly higher than whatever other bills we have. So in that sense, it makes you feel great.
Mhm.
It makes you feel really good. But I mean, it takes money to make money. You hear people say all the time, and we have, a payroll here that's expensive. It's just we have expensive payroll. We have a lot of expenses. Period.
Mm.
Just overhead and things like that. So as you kind of move up, I guess the point of the 70,000 thing is that you'll probably most likely kind of be sliding on a scale that is probably similar almost all the time.
Lifestyle inflation.
Yeah, lifestyle inflation, and it's
Mhm.
like even if you made 100 million, you probably made some decisions to make that 100 million to. Uh, you probably hired more employees or spent more money on marketing, or you probably did something to make that spike happen. If you're able to keep it to just like 5 employees or something, then you really did really well for yourself. But a lot of times, there's a lot of other things that you're going to implement that will cost you a lot of money, and so therefore you're not running off with as much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, you gotta spend money to make money. So, are we gonna get a new podcast crank, or like what's going
You
on?
can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. So this was like when it was pretty close to when I first started here at ST, and at that time Charlie Zamora was here, and I remember he just kind of looked at me. He's like, "Hey, man, like, what's your goal?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, what are your, what's your main goal? Like, especially here with the company, like, what's going down?" I'm like, that's a good question. I remember I felt so dumb. I was just like, shit, how am I supposed to answer that? Like, my goal was to get here. Like,
Mhm.
now I'll figure it out. And I just remember telling him okay, if I had a goal, it would be just to make enough money to where I don't have to worry about it. I was like, I know that's a little like,
Vague.
yeah, vague, and because it's not really like, well, what the hell does that mean? But it's like, yeah, like I want to go to the grocery store and I don't want to worry about it. I do want to go to like a nice restaurant and not look at the prices.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know that the mortgage is not gonna like, oh shit, like we have to pay that, so that means like, oh, okay, I gotta try to even limit like how fast I drive because I have to make the gas last longer.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be there, like that's to me, that's what it means to not worry about having how much money you have in the bank or whatever,
Mhm.
right? Like I want to, like, even more so, I want to not know how much money I have in the bank. Like that's how much money I want to have,
Mhm.
in a weird way, like that's how much I want to not care about money.
And the important thing there is for people to figure out what that number is,
Mm-hmm.
because people are fucking terrible with money. As like broke as I've been, I haven't actually personally been bad with money. And like people have huge car payments to make, and people have loaded up their credit cards. I mean, young people, they should not have a credit card. There's not a lot of reasons why I can think why you would have a credit card. People that are listening to this, they probably already have car payments, but you shouldn't have fucking car payments. You should have a car that you could, if you do have a car payment, it should be very, very minimal. I know people that have $700, $800 car payments. I'm like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, even I don't want to have that, because I mean, I always buy them outright. But even when I was younger, I would just buy the shittiest car that I could afford,
Mhm.
and I'd buy that outright. You just have to, you're going to have to live a certain way for a while if you want to really get to where you're trying to go to. You're going to have to live, I know it's the American way to live beyond your means, but you need to kind of live below your means. I mean, it reminds me so much of training, when we're working out. Like, I don't want you to go for a 70. If I'm coaching, I don't want you going for a 705 deadlift if 705 is your max.
Mhm.
I want you going for a 705 deadlift when I'm pretty damn positive you can pull 725
Yeah.
on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
You should always have reserve. You should always have, they call it something in the tank. How about something in the bank? You should always have a little extra.
Mhm.
You should always have. But I think, when I start to think back about, the kind of money that my wife was making for a while and what we, lived off, it was also kind of a long time ago and stuff like that too. But yeah, I mean, she's a smart, she did really well with the money that we had. And, um, people that are young, they need to really be careful. Credit card, just don't buy anything that you can't just outright purchase. It's such a dangerous, dangerous fucking thing. And then, student loans and stuff. Oh my God, you really get yourself into a fucking hole with that stuff. And that's unfortunate because I feel like people are kind of suckered into those. Not suckered into them, but like they just don't know that how how hard the impact
Yeah, well,
can be.
they're sold kind of like with the like the what's it called, MLM stuff. Like
Yeah.
they're sold on the dream
Mm-hmm.
if they invest all
Yeah.
this money, or at least get a loan for all this
And the
money.
problem is they don't know what their dream is, and that's a
Mhm.
big issue. And like with Charlie asking that question is great because if you ask somebody what their dreams are and they don't know, then you can pretty much guess what's in their bank. Not a whole lot, you know what I
That
mean?
was
There's probably
very
some,
accurate. Yeah.
yeah, there's probably a lot of zeros in there.
Yeah.
But it's important that people don't like to talk about death and they don't like to talk about money. You should be talking about both because people do die and you'll have to deal with it and you have to figure out a way to fucking sort shit out from there. And money is going to be something that you'll have to deal with probably on a daily basis until you figure
Mhm.
it out to where you don't. But if you don't talk about it and strategize for it, then how are you going to, just like we're doing with abs for Christmas, we have a
Mhm.
plan. We got something, concrete that we got going here that's going to get you abs
Yeah.
underneath that Christmas tree.
Oh man, can't wait. It's
I
gonna be
think
fun.
one thing to try and figure out or hash out, though, and what you said was really important, was trying to be happy with where you currently are, even if you're trying to move forward. Because you were mentioning how there's always that grass is always greener type of idea, right?
Mhm.
Like, once I make 60K, I'll be happier. Once I make 80K, I'll be. Once I make 100K, I'll be happier, right? But you got to figure out how to be happy with when you're making 30 or 40. You got to figure that out because you're not just going to be happier when you make more. And so
Mhm.
many people that we've talked to on this podcast that are extremely wealthy have mentioned, like, yeah, I mean, I started making this much. I wasn't much happier until Tom Billio, until I switched to working in health or whatever. And that's what I wanted to do. Um, it's, that happiness has to come before, I think.
Mhm.
Absolutely does. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and growing up, nobody ever talked to me about money at all. Like it was not
Mm,
a thing. But that's
same.
because everyone around me didn't really have money to be talking about, right? Like so, it was never really there.
My nephews ask me a lot of funny questions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're just, I mean, they just hear what they hear, and they're like, "You bought Teslas?" They start asking a bunch of questions, and it's hilarious. But I like to, it's a great opportunity. It's a great learning opportunity, rather than be like, "Oh, don't worry about it," or be weird or not talk about it. I just tell them, like, say, "Yeah, well, I, created an invention. It's a commodity for people. People really enjoy it. They like it. I started a website, and we work really hard at. You guys have been to Slingshot headquarters. You guys seen like Andrew, and you've seen all
Mhm.
the people that work there and stuff. And we take pictures of the products. We make videos of the products. We spend marketing money. The products are made and developed, and we have the customers in mind, and we ship them, and so like I just try to explain a lot of it to them, and like they'll usually stop me and they'll ask like another question, or they'll even be like, "Oh yeah, I helped ship those out before," because they have
Mm,
helped us with
Mhm.
certain things.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They've helped put stamps on stuff, and they've helped carry packages here and there, so they kind of know. And I think that they're inspired by it. They're like, this is cool. And they always ask me about lifting.
Mhm.
Both of them, they always try to like wrestle me and beat me up. Every time they see me, they're just like, they both punch me as hard as they can. They're getting strong. That's their first thing. I don't know why. I never asked for it.
Mhm.
I mean, I never told them to stop, but they love to just haul off and just punch me as hard as
Yeah,
they
I don't,
can.
kids do that. I know, like
They're like, "You're so jacked." And they come over and they punch me as hard as they can. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
yeah, I'm like, so with Jazz, she'll give me a hug and then she'll like squeeze as tight as she can, and then like when she was little, it was like, oh yeah, like yeah, that's a really good hug. But now she can like reach around and lock, and then
Oh,
she can squeeze, and I'm like, all right, you're gonna have to stop doing that because like my back's jacked up and you're getting really strong.
she's going to suplex your ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up right over her head one of these days.
Yeah.
I don't know why kids do that. But doing stuff for her and then my nephews too, to like kind of incorporate them into what I do. Like, that's huge because my brother-in-law, he has his own business, and it's awesome that they get to see that. But I think me and him are the only ones that are doing something outside of the norm of like, working the 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. So I got to think of ways to like, of like just incorporating that into their like my life into theirs. And like a cool thing happened the other night. We were watching, the Monday Night Football game. Two examples actually, now that I think about it. But the halftime thing was a preview of the new Star Wars series that's gonna be on Disney Plus, and the first face you see is Tate Fletcher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, like hey, he's been on our podcast. He's like, what? Like, yeah, he's on Monday Night Football and Star Wars and whatnot. And then as we were going to bed, I seen my parents and my sister had seen Mark on TV. And so I sent the picture from your Instagram, and I'm like, "Yep, that's him. That's the guy I get to podcast with every day." It's like, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy!" Like, so it's just cool to find like little ways to kind of plant seeds into my nephew's heads, and it's just be like, "Yeah, like this is what I get to do." It's really cool, but I got to find more ways to do that.
I feel like with photography, there has to be a ton of things that you can do with them.
Yeah, well,
cameras are fun.
They're fun, yeah, and then but if they're not into it, maybe they're into books, and it's like, boom, here's the War on Carbs. Yeah, I took that picture on that book.
Yeah,
like open up Jacked in 10. Whose name do you see above Per Bernal's name? That's right, that's my name.
Or start lifting with them.
Yeah, that's definitely the
Take them on
biggest
some
goal.
walks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I took my nephew Joshua out on a walk, and
Nice.
yeah, exactly like what you said, Mark. We wouldn't. I mean, he talks a lot, but like once we started walking, man, he was yapping away. It was awesome.
You're like, listen, kid, let me tell you the story about how I got my abs.
I can't wait. Yeah, that's what Grandpa again. Like, no, you don't understand. I told Nsima that I couldn't get abs, and he made fun of me.
And they magically appeared.
Yeah,
I didn't make fun of you. I told you you're ridiculous for thinking you couldn't get them.
he belittled me.
There we go. Better.
Ridiculed me. Yeah.
Where can people find you, Andrew?
At I am Andrew Z on Instagram, and Shredageddon is going to drop possibly next week.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's going to be an IGTV series where you can click, follow, and all that good stuff.
No way.
Yeah, way. Yeah.
Really?
Nsima.
Where can people find you? Natty Professor?
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube. By the way, since Andrew reminded me to do this, there's Smooth Panther videos on my YouTube channel. There's another one coming this week. If you want me to stretch you to sleep, go watch those videos right now. I'm serious. It's great to stretch before you go to sleep. So
No, I know, but like it sounds
I
really
know,
gross.
I made it sound that way on purpose.
Yeah, I was just picturing my butthole. Is that what?
Getting stretched and then
Was that? Were we not?
I mean,
yeah,
there are
after
some
you
stretches
finish,
that
you-
will
Well, it's a good
like,
thing we're not still on the air.
yeah, that'll
yeah,
finesse everything.
yeah, because the sponsors were just like, nope, we're pulling the plug.
The butt plug. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell on Instagram, and I got a new YouTube, so go check that out. It's at Mark Smelly Bell as well, or Mark Smelly Bell. Type that shit in, and it should pop up. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later.